Partnerships are vital to our global outreach, enabling us to take the love and hope of Jesus Christ to those who need it most. Our Boots on the Ground Partnership Program physically ministers to those in desperate situations all over the world. The Israel Partnership furthers Kim's legacy of outreach to Israel and Jewish people worldwide. We invite you to become a partner today. Join us today and be part of a community that inspires hope, brings restoration to life, and often healing from the past. Together, we can make a difference, and we thank you for your ongoing support.
Shabbat Shalom and welcome to Israel Update. I'm joined once more by Doobie. Doobs, thank you so much for being with me.
Hi, thank you for having me again. Shabbat Shalom.
And so just for everybody's awareness, we are recording this a little earlier because of the crazy schedule this week with everything going on at the House of Destiny. But something that I think is so important for us to understand and to talk about is, you know, we've seen that the Biden administration has come out saying that they are pushing for a two-state solution in Israel. There's a couple of other European nations that are pushing for it as well. And I think it's such an important topic for us to understand. And you know, these shows, we never keep you too long. People have got busy lives. But Doobs, can you talk to us and tell us why it is that Bibi Netanyahu has pushed back at these proposals that have come out? Because, you know, on paper, sometimes these things sound, you know, oh, quite good. Like, oh, this would be a good idea. Can you tell me why it is that he is actually pushing back?
Well, actually, the whole idea of two-state solution is not just the new kid in town. This is something that has been spoken about for years and years and years. I mean, it was almost in practice when Yitzhak Rabin was negotiated with Arafat, and we were almost about to sign this type of an agreement, which would lead to a two-state solution and to a Palestinian state. And literally, they were even looking to the side, giving the title of a Palestinian president to Yasser Arafat and later on to Mahmoud Abbas. So in the practice, this would have been almost something that would have been a realization of the negotiations between Israel and the Palestinians throughout all these years, ever since 1994, 1995, and even a little bit before that, the Oslo Accords. This was, actually a path that would lead to a Palestinian state should they decide that they want to drop off all their and literally the pursuit for the total annihilation of the state of Israel. I mean, the whole idea was for the Palestinians to get sovereignty over some lands and areas and get the chance to conduct and lead their own affairs and the internal affairs. And in terms of the security and police, to work together hand with hand with Israel to secure the area. Israel, even together with the United States, trained them, equipped them with weapons, supported them in order to take charge over the different Palestinian Hamulas gangs that were throughout all their areas, and to establish some kind of a status quo between the Palestinian authorities and their own people. Should they be able to do that, in the end of the day, they would have got a Palestinian state. The whole idea was literally to monitor what they're doing towards this idea of stopping educating in practice and teaching and supporting terrorism. The matter of fact was that they used the money for the international community, the money that they didn't steal to their own bank account, the Palestinian leadership. We all know that when Arafat died, in one of his bank accounts in Paris, they found $3.4 billion of American US aid that was supposed to be given to the Palestinians to build homes and hospitals and schools and train their people and help them. And this money was stolen, as it is right now by Hamas, as it is now by the Palestinian corrupt leadership. We just seen literally how their people living in poverty, and they are the leaders are traveling on private jets and living in fancy hotel rooms in Qatar or in Bahrain or the Emirates or everywhere around the Arab world. So the main idea was to give them and enable them to use the international community, the United States of America, built in Jericho, a police academy, 100% financed by the U.S. Taxpayers, to train them and help them take over the bad elements in the Palestinian people, so they can qualify to be part of the international community and seek for peace. I mean, literally, they even given a peace Nobel Prize to Arafat for his pursuit for peace. But in the practice, they used all this money to teach their people, to educate their people, to kill Jews, to volunteer to become martyrs, to dig tunnels, to launch rockets, and it never happened. Israel literally withdrew, and we retreated out of the entire Gaza Strip in 2005. Literally, we gave them the opportunity to practice and show us that, we're not occupying them anymore. Just show us that you want to have peace with us. And what did we get in return? Thousands of rockets and this war that just came about. So it's not that Israel is not willing to go into this type of solution. What we're saying and what Benjamin Netanyahu is saying, let us negotiate directly without any preconditions with the elected Palestinian leadership what we're going to do in order to put in practice a Palestinian entity, either a state or authority or whatever, that once they're going to desert their ways of educating and teaching and willing to fight and die in order to kill all the Jews, be a good sign for us to start something that can be, can stay forever and can be permanent. The Palestinian authorities are financing terror. They're paying salaries and monthly stipends to suicide bombers and killers of Jews.
Yes.
Their every history book for first grade starts with, we will negotiate with the Jews for whatever we can get, and then we'll fight and kill them until the last Jew is in the sea. There's not a way to do it. And the international community just now, after October 7th, pushing one-sided to get a Palestinian state on top and against the will of Israel. This is the biggest trophy that they can get for the terror attack. So they came, they slaughtered, they killed, they beheaded, they raped, they attacked, and they're going to get a state. Good for them. And the United States of America is pushing Israel and is behind this idea. I mean, America, the nation that for years was saying that we will not ever negotiate with terrorists, and they negotiated with terrorists with blood on their hands after attacking their closest allies, and not even negotiating. They offer. So what did the enemies of Israel will learn? Iran tomorrow will say, hey, let's go against the Jews. Maybe we'll get something from the US. Oh, Hezbollah, let's attack the Jews in the north. Maybe we'll get the land that we're demanding that it's not there up in the north. And who's going to be the good police officer? The United States of America. That's supposed to be our ally, our big friend, our support. That's the biggest story here. And that's why, as you said so many times, Golda Meir said, once the Muslims and the Arabs will put down their guns, there'll be peace, there'll be peace forever. And that's true. We don't say anything, and we don't launch big balloons and huge phrases. We only say to the Palestinians and to every Arab state in the world, desert the way of educating and pursuing the will to annihilate the state of Israel and the Jewish people. We will offer you everything in return. We want to live in peace. People seem to forget, because not so many of our followers are following the Jewish and the Jewish Hebrew prayer book. But in the Jewish Hebrew prayer book, the only one in the world that 3 times a day we pray for peace, and 2 times a day the last verse of our prayer is Adonai oz le'amo iten, Adonai yevarech et amo b'shalom. May the Lord God of Israel grant us the strength, bless us with peace. It ends up seeking with the yawning, with the prayer for peace. That's how we educate every kid at the age of 3 in the cheder already, for peace. shalom. And what do they say? Let's behave. Let's slaughter. They actually not too long ago interviewed a mother. Her son on her hand is a year old with the Hamas, headrest, and she says, "What is this?" Says, "Is the next martyr. That's your son. You just gave birth to him. I'll be so proud." Martyr.
And that's the thing, is that when you're fighting this kind of ideology, you cannot fight an ideological war with basic diplomacy. And this is something we talk about all the time. But when you look at the Jewish people, the history of the Jews, the way that God even said, this is the way to treat your enemies. All of modern civilization in the West is founded on these Judeo principles that are prescribed by God throughout the Torah. And we see that so evidently. And when you look at what Nazi Germany did with a couple of years of educating children with that kind of propaganda, you see how much more dangerous, I believe, this current regime can be, because they've been educating, like Doobie's saying, from birth. From birth, it's like, what are you going to do? We're going to kill the Jews. What are you going to do? We're going to fight the Jews. And nobody can really tell you why. There's just, they're bred with hatred. They're bred to feel that hatred and to feel like the Jews are their biggest enemies. And we know this, children are sponges. Whatever they're hearing and seeing, that's what they're going after. So this is the big issue in Israel right now. This is what's being faced. The same way that,
Doobie said in this... Christie, excuse me to interrupt you, but like you said, they're like sponges. And that's why they want to force Israel into one-sided ceasefire right now, actually to terminate the war. Now, they don't let Israel go into Rafah. Why? This is the last stop for the Hamas people. They were hiding amongst their own refugees, so-called, the people that Israel enabled to move from the northern Gaza Strip towards the southern part to Gaza, to Rafah. Now in Rafah, they have a concentration, yes, of 1 million or a little bit more of the people that flee, but amongst them, just yesterday, in one of the hospitals, they found 60 terrorists literally hiding amongst the civilians. They took off their terrorist clothing. They have a hole in the wall leading to another room that the Israeli army explored, and inside they have weapons and guns and RPGs and everything. And from there, they go attack the Jews and then dress like civilians and hide amongst the people that are getting shelter with the UN. So they want us to stop the war at the last station, last stop of Rafah, because multiple of those terrorists, including the leadership, are hiding over there. This is the last place for us to go and catch them. Why? Because the most important thing for them is not the guns and the weapons and the money and nothing. It's those people that have been educated, those animals, those beasts that has been educated for dozens of years to be so committed and determined to kill and destroy the Jews. And should we capture those people, these so they call the warriors, that would be the end of their regime, because they'll need generations now to educate their people. And maybe now we will have a chance with those civilians who are not involved to establish something new. So we must take down the old regime with their people and the manpower. That's what they care for. Their manpower, those people being trained and educated, no matter what, to kill Jews. That's why they're afraid. And America, France, Germany, and all the international community is going to give them this big prize by saying to Israel, don't go into Rafah. So what does it mean? You went through all these hassle, all these war, all these bloodshed, the death of so many Israelis and so many Palestinians in the end of the day, for nothing, to let them win the war?
Dube, such an excellent point. And this is something that we need to just keep an eye on, something we'll keep reporting about. But we thank you so much for your support, for standing with Israel. And let me encourage you, like the Jewish prayer book, they're praying for peace constantly. Let us as Christians who stand with our Jewish brothers and sisters commit to praying daily, constantly, for the peace of Jerusalem. So we love you. God bless. And we'll see you next week.
Bye-bye. Shabbat shalom. Love you.
This week on Real Life, Real Faith, our topic is Help, I'm Depressed. If you have struggled with this specific area in life, or if you know somebody who's struggled with this specific area in life, I really believe that this show will be able to help you. We're just having a conversation style about it, what it's like to go through it, and how to look at overcoming. So if you have the opportunity, let me encourage you. It's not very long. Make sure you go and watch. You can click the link to watch, or you can go to real-faith.tv.
To celebrate the new year, we're having the biggest sale ever on overstock clearance and brand new products. For example, save 60% on our Goose Down comforters, the best comforters ever. They go perfectly with our MyPillow bed sheets and duvet covers. Save 25% on our brand new kitchen towels. They're made with the same technology as our famous My Towels. Our initial quantities are extremely low, so get them now before they go. Our seasonal flannel sheets are finally in. You save up to 50% and they sell out fast every year, so order now. They're truly the best flannel sheets you'll ever sleep on. Or save up to 80% on all our clearance items. And this is where it gets even better. For a limited time, your entire order ships absolutely free. So go to mypillow.com or call the number on your screen. Use that promo code to get deep discounts on all MyPillow products. And for a limited time, your order ships absolutely free.
We here at the House of Destiny are partnering with you to let our viewers, of course, know about your company. It's Beverly Hills Precious Metal.
Andrew, explain how that works.
So I'll walk you through it right now. So if you go to bh-pm.com, right there on the homepage, you'll see a form that you could fill out. And that form is very important in letting us know how we can help you. So you just put in your first name, last name, email address, phone number. There's a section that says, how did you hear about us? And in there, put Kim Clement. And then there's a portion where you could write a couple of notes down on the bottom. Usually within about 24 to 48 hours, we'll contact you by phone call, and then we'll go over everything with you. This isn't a high pressure deal. We always recommend that if you feel uncomfortable, take a step back, pray about it. You will gain the answers that you need by doing that, and come back to us when you're comfortable.